talking about Kirsche, and I genuinely don't know if this intro cut out or not because the way it works on YouTube, you click live and then you're live, but you need to wait for a couple of seconds before the actual connection is made. And if you don't wait, then it gets cut out. And then the stream starts while you're talking. Many intelligent streamers, professional streamers, not like myself, they have like background music and they have like all sorts of gizmos in order to start the stream and create the illusion of professionalism, which I do not have. I'm here, Sarah, but like if you guys are going to super chat me while I'm late, do you think I'm going to be late more often or less often? That or time curious, you can choose. Oh, I see what you did there. That's actually funny. I like it. Anyway, right, we're going to be discussing the Kirsche incident today. We're also going to be discussing a little bit about gatekeeping, but this is gatekeeping, and it's interesting because the woke 100% gatekeep. They 100% gatekeep. They keep their spaces secure. They do not let any evil Kirsches going into their spaces. And this is why it's okay when we do it. Like literally, is it okay when you? Yes, it is. They do it, and if they do it, you gotta do it so they don't do it to you. So what is gatekeeping basically? Like what is going on here? Well, if you guys actually read the literature from the academia, this is what they teach in most things that end up with studies: gender studies, colonial studies, women's studies, like all these studies, they teach the same thing. And well, they don't necessarily teach the same thing, but they do teach the same tactics. And the tactic that this is, it's called entryism. So entryism is synonymous to subversion in a way. How does it work? Well, let's say that you have a time machine and you want to prevent the Nazi party from forming. How do you do that? Like, let's say you got 10,000 people and you want to stop the rise of the Third Reich. Okay? Now, one way to do it would be with violence. Like you're going in Germany, you're trying to be violent against the Nazis, you're trying to suppress the ideology from ever coming to power. Now, the communists tried that, and it wasn't effective because the Nazis had more people on their side. So, no, it didn't work. What you can do, however, is entryism. So you take your 10,000 people who want to fight the Nazis, and you join the Nazi party. And that sounds counterintuitive. It's like, why would you want to do that? Like, why would you want to join the institution you're fighting against? And it's simple. You join the Nazi party and you pretend that, oh, well, I'm just like you guys. Of course. I mean, I'm 100% with the ideology, right? So you pretend that you're interested in the things that they're interested in. You pretend that you care about the things they care about. And once you join, once you enter the ideology, you climb through the ranks. And once you're in position of power, you only promote incompetent people. You oust the people that are problematic. And over time, you destroy the institution. Now, this concept of entryism can be applied to everything. Like, it doesn't have to be ideological. It can be applied to fandom. It can be applied to company, corporations. It can be applied to governments. Like, it doesn't really matter. But the principle is the same. You look at a hobby, like, for example, gaming, and you pretend that you're a gamer, and you're like, yeah, of course, I care about video games. I'm the best game ever. What? You think that I don't play video games? Well, you're just a bigot. No, I absolutely play video games. You want me to show you? Well, you're not going to see. Why are you doubting me? And once you get in the hobby and you get a position of power, like once you're a moderator, once you have like any type of power within the fandom, you have a large community, you start kicking people that disagree and you promote the people that agree with what you really want to accomplish. I never realized that to assert dominance over you was to tell someone, I'm afraid of you. What? Is that a thing? I guess it is. Are you really gonna protest the National Socialists? Really, bro? Prototype whoosh. Yeah. But basically, like, this is gatekeeping, right? This is entryism. It is to fake that you care about a hobby, to actually enter the hobby. But the purpose is not to promote the hobby, help the hobby. The purpose is to put your people into positions of high places, and everyone that disagrees with you to get them ousted from the community. And at that point, you're gatekeeping. So, if you look at what's happening to these expos, well, you have these volunteers that definitely care about VTubing. They're very concerned about their community and blah, blah, blah. And they speak on behalf of everyone and they promote inclusivity. But it's only inclusivity for some VTubers. It's only inclusivity for some people. The moment you do something bad, they will do their best in their power in order to ruin your career. Because if you're a VTuber and you want to grow past a certain amount, you do have to go to these expos. You do have to go to these events. The whole thing that, like the way that it works for a lot of people that are streamers is that you always need to keep the audience paying attention to you. It's kind of like a television network. If they switch the channel, it's unlikely that they're going to come back. So like when you have a commercial break, they switch the channel, they're unlikely to come back for the movie. I mean, look at this. Look at my channel, right? Like in the last couple of days, I was having around 350, 300 viewers, right? But because I haven't streamed for the last 2 days, viewership is dropping. And this is normal. This is expected. This is how it works, because the viewers that were watching me on a regular basis chose to watch someone else or chose to not watch anyone. And they created a new habit. And with the new habit, they're now not watching me, right? So as a streamer, you gotta keep people paying attention. Now, if you don't go to these events, like everyone is talking about the VTubers, everyone is discussing. Well, if you're not there, they're going to talk about other VTubers. They're going to switch the channel. They're going to look at other content creators. And the people that are doing the gatekeeping, the people that don't want Kirsche to attend, this is why they're doing it. They want to hurt her financially. They want to hurt her ability to gather support. And take into account that this is the extent of their power. This is the worst thing that they think they can do, right? So if they could do something worse to Kirsche, if they could debank her, if they could get her banned from Twitch, like they would definitely do it. But they don't have the power to do it. So they settle for less. Which is why these people are really dangerous. Like if they ever get actual power in a society with this mindset, which is, oh, you posted some mean tweets on Twitter, I'm going to ruin your life. They're actually very unhinged and dangerous individuals. So let's see what exactly Kirsche posted in order to get herself banned. Let me go to her account and see if I can pull up the evil tweets that got her into trouble, right? So these are the evil tweets that apparently a volunteer from the Expo said that they feel uncomfortable and not safe. And I also love the weasel words, right? Because what does it actually mean to feel uncomfortable, or even worse, to feel unsafe over a VTuber? Like it's a VTuber, right? Like what does it mean to feel unsafe? It's an anime cat. Like, why are you afraid that she's going to come out of the screen and bash her head against the monitors? Like, why is it unsafe? And the answer is, like, what they're actually trying to say is that they want to ruin this person's livelihood. Like, over tweets, they want this person to be unable to put bread into her children's mouth. I'm also using sympathetic words. I don't know if she has children, but it's a Romanian expression. Anyway, right, the whole thing is, like, they want this person's reputation ruined. They want her destroyed. Now, if they say something like that, it sounds very sadistic. It sounds very evil. And they're very concerned about optics. They're very concerned about PR. So they can't say that, right? Instead, they say, oh, well, I'm so weak. I'm so weak that I feel unsafe. But you're not weak. Like, you literally have power over this individual. Like, you literally demonstrated, objectively so, that you can hurt this individual financially. So how are you weak? But again, like, the whole thing with woke ideology is to pretend you're weak when in reality you're strong. Like, you have power over this person. So when they say, I feel uncomfortable, I feel unsafe, what they really mean is destroy this guy. Just demolish this person. That's what they're actually saying. So what did Kirsche say? Well, I mean, look, these are the tweets that are enough to warrant destroying someone's livelihood over. And again, I know that they didn't destroy her livelihood because they banned her from an expo. But like, if they could have the power to destroy her livelihood, they would. Do you honestly think that the individuals pushing for this would be like, well, yeah, I disagree with the tweets, but I'm not going to ruin her life. I mean, I do have like some breaks on my unhinged activism. Like I think like this far no further is what. No, of course not. Like we saw with the Hogwarts Wizard game, how these activists behave. It's like they went with doxing, they went with all the nasty shit. They had no breaks. So I'm genuinely going to assume the worst type of malice possible, because I have seen the worst type of malice possible displayed. So, like, what did Kirsche do? Well, apparently, you had Sam Hyde, which posted this meme saying that he went on HRT and he won the women's weightlifting competition. Basically pointing out the bizarre legislation where any person that's dishonest, let's say, isn't stopped. Like, there is nothing in society to stop a dishonest person from attending a women weightlifting competition, saying that they're a woman dishonestly. We're not even talking about trans people, right? Like my question is, what legislation, what system, what check is in place to prevent someone that's being dishonest to win the women's weightlifting competition? And the answer, there isn't any. Right? Now you would be like, well, why do you care? Well, it's just because it doesn't affect me. That doesn't mean that I don't care. I'm not sadistic. We live in the age of activism. There are people that are stopping buses and they're stopping cars from going over bridges over a conflict in the Middle East that literally doesn't affect them. Like, it's in another country. Like, I can even understand the ones doing it in the US, but there are people that do it in Europe, and it's like, well, how exactly does it affect? So we live in the age of it doesn't affect me, but therefore, So like, let's cut the crap. No, like, the whole thing with the women's sports is that a lot of colleges offer grants and they also offer perks for people that compete in women's sports, right? So like, if any person that could be disingenuous and you have no idea because you have no system in place to check it, but just go and win the women competition, well, it's not really fair, is it, right? So this is what Kirsche is talking about. Like, is she going out of her way to start a campaign in order to change the legislation? No. Is she going into politics? No. She's just, like, having her opinion on the internet. She's looking at it, and it's like, well, yeah, this is ridiculous. And this is enough, right? Like, this is a tweet that is enough to ruin someone's livelihood. It's like, you see something you don't like, you're not supposed to express yourself. You need to keep it to yourself because this is what people do in a democratic country. In the US, we have LGBTQIP2SAA. This is actually a thing, by the way. She's not making fun of it. Like, it's I remember Justin Trudeau struggling to say all the acronyms, which is interesting because the acronyms keep growing. You can tell that it's not gay people that come up with these acronyms, because gay people actually have style and fashion. Unironically, like, it used to be LGBT, and it was like, okay, that's normal, that's reasonable. Then it's LGBT plus, and it's like, okay, now you reach perfection. It's like, no, now it's LGBTQIP2SAA. Okay, but now you're being, funny. Now you're creating something that I'm willing to bet most people don't even agree. Like, LGBT plus was fine. Like, why do you need to change it? In Canada, apparently they have different things, and the plus is people who identify as part of sexual gender diverse communities. Hope this helps. How is this tweet even remotely offensive? Like, even if I was a leftist, even if I was like a hardcore person that lives on Reddit, why would this be offensive? Like, she's literally explaining to people. Like I guarantee to you, in Romania, most people don't know. If I tell them this, like, if I show them this sausage, they will think that I'm taking the piss. Like, unironically, I'm not kidding. If you go to Romania and you say this, they will think that you're mocking LGBT people. And I'm like, no. Like, listen. They're actually acronyms. It's like, get the fuck out. Like, why is that two here? It's too spirited. Like, seriously, I'm not kidding. Like, the thing is, most of these individuals, they are trapped in their Reddit echo chambers They share like their various bizarre communist paraphernalia, that they're different flags that most people on the street don't recognize. They don't even know what it means. And then they genuinely think that everyone in the world shares their ideology, shares their principles. They genuinely think that they're in the majority. They unironically think that everyone is agreeing with them, and it's like the only people disagreeing are a couple of Nazis. But the reality is, no, like, most people don't know what you're talking about. Legit, not out of balance. They genuinely have never heard of these things. So when you have Kirsche explaining them, they're freaking out, and it's like... But you can also tell, you know, from these tweets, you can tell that the problem they had with Kirsche isn't the tweets, because the issue is never the issue. The problem they had with Kirsche is they don't like her. And they don't like her, it's well, first of all, it's because she's not a VTuber that's promoting leftism, right? Like she doesn't go around promoting all the woke ideology. She doesn't support the Democrats, which is like what the perfect community would be like. The perfect community would be every single person says the same thing. Every single person has the same thoughts. Every single person has the same principle. Like this would be the perfect community, our community. That. But she talks against these things, right? So like this is why they don't like. So they struggle to find out these tweets. They really struggle. They went out of their way in order to find these 7 tweets. One of which isn't even offensive. I would say even the one with Sam Hyde isn't offensive. And look how small these tweets are as well. Like I'm a person that goes on Twitter, and when I tweet, if I tweet myself farting, I get more likes than this. This is like 200 likes. Barely anyone even read the tweet. Like the person that was going after her was going overtime in order to try and find literally anything that they could. Anything. And this is like scraping the bottom of the battle. In fact, the battle has no bottom. They actually had to dismantle the bottom of the battle and now started digging under the battle to find something. And pretending that it comes from the battle. Hi V, hope your day is good. I'm not into the VTuber thing. I can say it's fucked messing with her finances because someone is just butthurt over words. Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. It's not that they're butthurt over words. It's that they want to create the community where literally everyone is saying the same thing, thinking the same thing, believing the same thing. Like this is what it's about. And you may not care about the VTube community, but this is how they get the community in line. And when you're going to want to get voice actors for your manga, which may become an anime as you're interested in, you're going to find only people that think like this, because the message that they're trying to send is not even about Kirsche, to be honest. The message is, hey, you want to be a successful VTuber? Don't be like this. This is the message, right? Like, we are now in control of the VTube community, and we demand that all VTubers that want to be popular say the things we want them to say, right? So they're artificially creating a community. You're basically having the issue of going on Reddit, and Asmongold actually said this, right? Like, he was talking about Stellar Blade. Or was it a different game? I forgot which. But he was talking about Star Wars Outlaws. Right, Star Wars Outlaws. And he basically says, oh, okay, so I go on Twitter, and a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are making fun of it. But then when I go on Reddit, like, no one is making fun of it. Like, everyone is just talking about the game, and he didn't understand why. And someone in the chat told him, it's like, well, because Reddit is moderated, right? Reddit is gate-kept. So what's happening is, like, the actual feedback, the actual thing which is going to translate in sales can be noticed on Twitter, right? Because on Twitter, yeah, like, there are a lot of people upset about that game. There's a lot of reasons to be upset about that game. And chances are that game won't be very successful because it managed to piss off a lot of the potential customers. But if you go on Reddit, it seems that, oh, well, like, that game is going to be extremely well received. It's kind of like the game journalist reviews. Like, you look at a game journalist review and they think Hades 2 is a 9 out of 10, but Stellar Blade is a 7. Like, IGN actually said that. IGN said that, yeah, like, Stellar Blade, 7 out of 10. Hades 2, 9 out of 10. And you can tell that they are disconnected from the actual market. It's because they're curated, right? It's because... There have been people who worked at IGN and they said that the editor would step in and they will say, no, you give this game a 7. So, because now it makes sense. Like, there were some reviews that I never understood. I would go on IGN and I would read the review and it was, like, incredibly positive. Like, everything about the game was positive, 7 out of 10. And it's like, well, hold on a little bit. Why did you give it a 7? Like you only wrote positive things about it. Like, what did you dislike about the game? And then you had people that left IGN and they were saying, well, yeah, but like the editor would tell us, like, this game gets a 7. So it's kind of the same what they want to do in the VTube community. Like, obviously there's going to be more VTubers that think like Kirsche, but they won't say it. They won't talk about it to their audience. They won't articulate it, because if they do, they all can have their careers ruined by not being allowed to partake into these events that are very important for a large VTuber. Like, if you're a small 2-view VTuber, yeah, these events aren't that important. But like, if you're a large content creator, they're incredibly important, because you can use them to network, you can use them to let other people know about your channel, you can use them to sell your merchandise and make profits, right? Like, to be cut off from these events is detrimental to the VTuber profession, which is why they're doing it. And again, it's not really about VTubers, because at the end of the day, this is happening in almost every single community, everywhere you go. This is the trend now. This is just. Thank you, CGR, for the $2. Make sure you like the stream and subscribe. Yeah, do subscribe so that you can notice YouTube not notifying you when I'm streaming. Twitter is also curated, just less than Reddit. It depends on the topic, yes. But when it comes to entertainment, Twitter isn't that curated. I think, like, when it comes to entertainment, Twitter is almost not curated at all. However, the main problems that you get with Twitter is that you have this thing where there's a lot of bots, like, unironically, especially ChatGPT-like bots, and they pretend to be real people. So there are accounts that are tracing these bots, and you will get like these bizarre replies in your comments to generate artificial engagement when there is none. So that is the issue with Twitter. But like, when it comes for entertainment and when it comes to certain communities, yeah, I would say there's very little censorship on Twitter. I even see people dropping the N-word recently, and all they're getting is like their tweet is in a limited state and people can't see it. But it's not as bad as it used to be. Like before, if you told a journalist to learn to code, you could get banned. Now you can tell the journalist to learn to code just fine. Archcast and Dev miss you dearly. They probably do, but I told them the problem, okay? And now I can make it public, because at the time, I didn't want to tell people that my wife is expecting. Like, I just wanted to be sure that the pregnancy is fine, because, like, the worst thing that can happen is your wife is pregnant, and then she, in the first weeks, it doesn't take. And then everyone is like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh shit, fucking hell, like, just, it is what it is, right? So I wanted to see, like, my wife is is pregnant at least 4 months in, and then I made the announcement. Here's the issue. Due to the fact that my wife is pregnant, I have to help around the house more often, right? It makes sense. Because a lot of people were like, oh, so you're a cook. Like, no, it's part of the marriage, moron, right? Like, my wife doesn't want to carry the 20 kilograms of groceries herself. Like, she needs a man around the house. It's why she got married. And I was doing the Archcast, and I was doing D&D. Now, for my time zone, the Archcast ends at around 4 a.m. in the middle of the night, and D&D ends at around 3 a.m. Now, having two events that go all the way in the middle of the night, they completely ruin your sleep schedule. So you end up being awake during the night, and you end up sleeping during the day. Like, you genuinely do not have a normal rhythm. So my wife was getting annoyed, because every single time she needed me to do something around the house, I was asleep. And when she was asleep, I was awake. And she started missing me, besides that. It's like, well, I can't spend any time with you because you're asleep and blah, blah, blah. So, this is why I didn't go on the Archcast anymore. Because it's way too late during the night. And I just can't, I can't do it. Can't. My wife is angry. Now, when it comes to D&D, that's different, because with D&D, it's just 1 day a week. Like, okay, I can stay up 1 day a week. That's fine. But if you stay up 2 days a week, especially one is Wednesday and one is Saturday, like, I was getting to the point where I was fixing my sleeping schedule, and I was able to go to bed at around 10 p.m. and wake up at 6 a.m. And I was like, okay, so I fixed my sleeping schedule. But then it's like, oh, the Archcast is coming, and it's like, okay, well, that now I gotta stay up, and I would stay up until 3 a.m. and then my sleeping schedule was out of whack again. So it is what it is. Get Arch to move the stream? No. God forbid, VTuber isn't a liberal drone that worship Hamas and Ukraine, but hates their own country and hates men. Yeah, Razorwind, it's not even about that. It's like, you gotta say the current thing. Like, whatever the current thing is, you gotta say it. And the people that are gatekeeping get to decide the current thing. It may not even be about talking about these issues. It may be just don't play the video game Hogwarts. Right? Like, very disgusting and bewildering behavior. They have made it so easy to not care about offending the community. It's ironically liberating. I mean, I do see that there are certain aspects of the community that people just don't care about anymore. And it started with the Hogwarts wizard game. Like, it's not ideological. It's not that people are all of a sudden, you know, hearing the arguments and changing their views on things. It's more about the way that the activists behave, because up until now, the PR was like, if you want to be a good and you want to be a decent person, you gotta behave in a certain manner, right? Like the way we behave is tolerant, accepting, understanding. So like, we're the good guys. We're on the right side of history. But then you see how they actually behave, and they're going after women who play a video game, doxing them, threatening them, trying to get them fired from their jobs. And it's like, well, these aren't good people. Like, I don't want to associate myself with this. And it's this type of behavior that's constant. And you can notice it as a pattern that people are like, yeah, I don't think you guys are what you say you are. I don't think you're as good and as kind as you're pretending to be. I think it's a facade. You're a good man, V. Look after your wife. No need to explain. No, it does need to explain, because I don't want people to think that I had a fight with Arch or with Dev or something. It's not about that, right? It's just about the time zone, basically. And I do understand, you know, Americans are awake when I'm asleep. Like, you guys live on the dark side of the earth. It is what it is. Most VTubers don't talk about politics, and I like it about that way. Yeah, so like, this is another thing. The reason I liked VTubing, and when it started, I think like 2 years ago, I remember watching a stream with Amelia Watson, and she is playing video games. And up until that point, people who play video games were encouraged by the streaming services to act very professional, right? So like, you see this person playing video games, they have like this poker face, and they're just playing it, and they're having, you know, all these positive comments. And then I see Amelia Watson, and she's talking about ground pounding your mom, and she's slamming the mouse on the desk, and she gets angry and toxic, and I'm like, you know, this looks like an actual gamer. Like, this looks like an actual human being. It looks as a person that unironically plays video games. Like, gamers are toxic. Yeah, like, I play video games, of course, you know, like, you get emotionally invested in the game, and when you don't accomplish what you're setting out to do, it's infuriating. Yeah, like, you can definitely smash the mouse on the table if you're playing Elden Ring, and you just died for the 25th time. Yeah, no, like, I can relate to that, right? So, the toxicity was actually what got me into VTube, because I was like, okay, well, I guess because they're girls, they can get away with other things that other people can't. Because if you're a guy and you behave like that, everyone is like calling you DSP, everyone is unsubscribing, people are laughing and they're mocking you. But for some reason, when she did it was wholesome, right? So you get like VTubing just growing because of that. Like, you get to see, and especially like a lot of men that never interact with women, not because they don't want to, but because I guess, like, you know, no women want to give them attention. Like, for a lot of them, like, seeing a girl that's just like them, Plays video games like them, talks like them, is toxic like them, was very wholesome. And that's why they had so large communities. And what was interesting is that you would go on 4chan and you would look at these VTuber communities, and half of the people there were leftists, the other half were right wingers, and they were cohabitating. Like the left leaning individuals and the right leaning individuals were like, literally, we were setting aside our politics and we're just here to enjoy this VTuber. And I saw posts on 4chan. You had like a right winger coming in there to stir up shit, usually with Pipkin Pippa. And you'd have like another commentator, like, dude, I'm an actual Nazi. Like, no, I'm not saying this as no, just like he would say, like, genuinely, unironically, I believe in the ideology, right? But I keep it to myself. Shut the fuck up. Like, this is not about politics. This is about the VTuber. So, that was what the VTubing community was about. It's like, we're putting aside our differences. We're putting aside politics. We're putting aside everything. And we're just enjoying the thing. So obviously the left freaks out about this because they want division everywhere. Like, they do not want an identity that's humanizing and all-encompassing, and, you know, regardless of what you believe, you're just hanging around and you're watching this anime girl. So they had to bring the politics in. And notice that the politics isn't brought by everyone. It's just like a couple of gatekeepers that get to decide, this is the VTuber you watch, this is the one that you don't. Right? Like, they get to ban people that do not toe the line. It is what it is, you know. I was responding to what V said about Arch's time being good for Americans. I see. Although sometimes following a VTuber on Twitter can reveal their politics, T Melody having a mini meltdown over the repeal of Roe v. Wade. I will tell you the politics of VTubers, okay? It's hard to put them in a box. Most of them are women, so they want access to abortions and stuff. Like, they're left-leaning because of that, right? Overwhelmingly, VTubers are right-wing. They vote for Donald Trump. Now, you would be like, what the fuck? Like, V, how can you say that? They don't want to pay taxes. They don't want to fucking pay taxes. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It sounds weird, but take my word for it. I talk to these people behind closed doors. They will vote for fucking Donald Trump. The rich ones, at least. The rich ones. The famous VTubers are making millions of dollars. They do not want to be taxed. They do not want taxation, chat. I'm not kidding. This is not me doing a bit. I am telling you, behind closed doors, I have spoken with these people. I have spoken with these people because some of them do voice acting under different pen names for different video games. Some of them, they're getting engaged with other stuff, with artists and shit. And I know what they are saying, alright? They will vote, look at me, they will vote for the Donald. Now, they may not agree with right-wing policies. They may not agree with like, issues like abortions and gun control. All of that goes away when they realize that the left wants to tax the rich, because they know that they are fucking rich. They know that they are rich. They're making millions of dollars. It's not that they're making like a couple of 100,000. No, they're making tens of millions. They're wealthy. They don't want to be taxed. And I'm not talking about Pippa. Pippa obviously votes for the Donald. I think. I don't know. Like, with her, I generally don't know. But I think, like, from her politics, from her stance, she probably does. But, like, I'm talking about VTubers that you would swear they're left-leaning. Right? I'm not going to give names, but, like, you look at the channel and you're like, oh, clearly this is a demo. No, they do. I have no idea what VTuber votes left-wing. The only VTubers that probably unironically vote left-wing are the VTweeters, right? Like, the ones that don't make money and they stay on Twitter and they don't even stream, but they always go like, in our community we must, our community this, our community that. Okay, like those maybe. But like the successful ones, the ones that make tens of millions of dollars, they vote right-wing. And the only reason that they would say it is because it's also business. Like if you look at from the perspective of they want to make money, right? They can't say that they're Democrats. Sorry, they can't say that they vote right-wing because then this happens, right? So they shut the fuck up about their actual politics because they don't want this. They don't want to get banned from expos and stuff. So they shut the fuck up about it. But when they're in that voting booth, all them bitches vote right wing. You can clip me on this. Unironically, like, the thing is, like, I would show receipts, but again, like in this environment, where if you say the wrong thing, you get canceled, I don't want to hurt these ladies. I don't want to do that, right? It's not my place to hurt these ladies. But I do have receipts, yes. I know for sure that VTubers that you would fucking swear, and they're on Twitch, and they're on the top, and you would swear, oh, this person is a Democrat. There's no fucking... No, they vote right-wing. On that election night, they will have their fingers crossed and their butt cheeks puckered, hoping that Donald Trump wins. Like, that's the lifestyle that they have. Gura still trying to groom Vash? Does Gura talk about Vash? What? Gura sides with Mr. House every time. No, because the thing is, they may not think of themselves as rich, but they realize that, like, okay, well, even an extra 5% tax, when you're making tens of millions of dollars per year, even a 5% tax is a fucking lot, chat. Even a 5% tax. Like, if you're making $5 million and you get like an extra 1% tax, and by the way, like $5 billion per year isn't that much for like a streamer that's on the top of the Twitch list. Because it's not just the money that they're getting from Twitch, it's the contracts with other companies. It's, I mean, this is the VTuber, but who are they? Like Pokimane, I think, right? Like Pokimane, it's got like contracts with Disney and shit. Like these people are making money hands over fist. And for them, even like the smallest amount of tax increase, even like a... And then you have Biden saying like, yeah, we're going to increase taxes. They're not going to vote for Biden, they won't go vote for shit. They may disagree with literally every single other politics that right-wingers have. Like, the only thing that right-wingers can do to fuck it up is if they start talking against not safe for work and you know, like making stuff more family-friendly and blah, 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 because that can actually ruin with their business. Especially the OnlyFans girls, not the VTubers. But even the VTubers, like, they want to have lewd costumes and stuff. So if you're a right-winger and you start talking against that, or you're cracking down on video games or shit like that, then yeah, you're going to get those girls pissed off. And you might convince them to vote for the left again. But the way things are, like, they generally don't care. They don't care about gun... I mean, even... Sorry, no, my bad. Even if they care about the issues, right? Because, like, a lot of them are like, oh, guns are evil, guns are bad, you know? So they don't like right-wingers because they're with guns. They don't like criticisms because people criticize them. So if only we can have more trust and safety, blah, 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 blah. So they can, like, legitimately believe in left-leaning issues, but when push comes to shove, when they're in that voting booth, and they gotta decide, they gotta make a choice, they gotta select the package, and the package is everything that you disagree with but less taxes, or everything that you agree with but more taxes, they're going to vote for the less fucking taxes. And the answer for it is that they would prefer a world where they would keep their money, but no. And the thing is, like, even if you're not a good economist, like, you see the money actually leaving your wallet, right? Like, you're making those millions of dollars, and you see how they're going to the government, and it pisses them off. Jim hasn't posted in days. Man, I saw the last stream with Jim. I don't know why people think that I hate Jim. I generally don't. Like, you can watch my history with Jim. From my side, like, he probably hates me, but I don't hate him. Unironically, I never hated Jim. I never said anything negative about him in public. I genuinely like the guy. I like his comedy. He's funny. He makes good jokes. And on top of that, it's not that I think he is mean-spirited or anything. I genuinely think that he came to the wrong conclusion about me and about my friends, but I don't think he did it out of malice. Like, I don't think, because there are other content creators that, like, literally just hate someone for the clicks, right? Like, oh, they don't really hate you, but No, I think he had poor judgment on this issue, but whatever. That's what I'm thinking. But I don't hate him, and I saw the stream where he And by the way, you can ask this with other people's, like when I talk in private. Like even when I talk in private, I never said anything negative about Jim. Um, he was one of the content creators that actually made me want to do this because it was funny. It's like, oh look, this is so cool, entertaining people and making people laugh. Like this is nice. So no, unironically, like I looked up to Jim as a content creator, and I looked up to Sargon as a content creator. Like I was like, okay, well these content creators are bigger than me. There's a lot that I can learn about the trade by watching them. Like they can show me how to do this correctly. And then I have my own style, but yeah, like back in the day, like these two content creators were the ones that I was trying to learn how to be entertaining from. Anyway, whether you agree with it or not, that's besides the point. Just being honest. But in the last stream, like he actually showed the medicine that he goes through, and he showed all the test results, and yeah, like as a doctor, I can tell that he's not faking it. Like it's legit. And the condition that he explained were probably excruciatingly painful. I mean, the idea of having a kidney stone while your spine is broken is probably not very pleasant. And, the thing is, like, as a Romanian, I gotta say this, as an Eastern European, we don't really look at people and try to purity spiral. It's like, oh, yeah, but, like, how can you like this person because he did such and such? No, it's more like you look at the person and you take the things that you like and you try to apply it to yourself. And one of the things that I liked about Jim is the fact that even when he is in excruciatingly bad pain, he's not complaining about it. He's still laughing about it, and he's still being entertaining. So he has this level of stoicism where, he thinks about his family. He's like, okay, well, if I'm going to die, I want to leave a lot to my wife, like as much as I can. So that is admirable. That is a nice way to think about life. But the other thing is like, okay, so you're in excruciating pain. You're having this awful disease, which would put anyone down into major depression, but you can still log online and crack jokes. And I'm like, you know what? If time comes for me, like when I'm, like everyone is going to get sick at some point, right? Like when you're old, you're going to get something, whatever that is. We don't just die of old age. We die of heart attacks. We die of kidney failure. You're going to get some shit. And when I do get that shit, I want to be like Jim. I want to be able to still maintain that happy face, not for myself, but for the people around me. Whether I'll still be streaming at the time or whether I'll be alone with my family, I do want to maintain this composure so that it doesn't panic the people around you. Because nothing is worse than when you have a family member that you care about and you see them in pain and suffering, right? And there's nothing you can do to help them. Like there's literally nothing. They're suffering in front of you. They're in great pain. And you can't do anything. So, like, if that person has the fortitude to at least not show all the pain they're going through, it makes it easier for the loved ones around them to, because they're suffering too, right? Like, they're also going, it's like, oh shit, I'm going to lose my mom, I'm going to lose my husband, I'm going to lose this and that. Like they're also obviously not suffering as much as the guy that's dying, but like they are. And if you can make it easier for them, I think that is something that is admirable. Yeah, everyone dies of something eventually. Some people like myself can even die on cringe. That time Jim was yelling at you and accusing you of ops made him look pathetic. That was a major W for you. I genuinely didn't really put it to heart. I was like, okay, well, it's happening, whatever. As a content creator, I had I think that I still do, but I also had the ability of separating work from life. Like for me, that's work. You come online, you gotta make people smile, you do a stream, and what happens online is online. Obviously, sometimes it can slip to real life if you're getting doxxed or harassed or shit like that, but like, and I think like Jim also told me that, because he actually told me how to deal with internet trolling in a way. Yeah, it was a time where I wasn't handling it properly. I was letting it go to me, and Jim like actually sat on a stream and told me certain things about the internet. It's not that I didn't know them; it's that I just didn't put them into practice. And they helped me a lot from that day forward. It's definitely something that I appreciate. You know, so all the people they say about the negative things. Oh yeah, he was streaming, got you on a stream, and blah blah blah. Yeah, but like before that, he also did something nice. So it is what it is. Yeah, I hope he's okay. I hope that because people are telling me in the chat that he's not tweeting anymore, and it's like, well, hopefully he's going to be fine, and we'll hear from him. Man of the house has to keep a stiff upper lip because he is a rock others lean on. My mom did the same, by the way. So when my mom passed away from cancer, she managed to pretend that everything is fine, but it wasn't. Like she probably went through excruciating pain, but she didn't want to show it to others. And when I was alone, like she actually told me about it. And she said it's like, well, what's the point in showing to others that I'm in pain? Like they can't make the pain go away. It's part of the disease. It's part of the illness. But if I start screaming and if I start hollering, then it just gets the people around me worried. So you know, like that's another thing that I took from her. It's like, yeah, like when I'm sick, if I feel something and I know that my wife can't help me with it, like there's no point in complaining and talking about it, because you're just worrying the people around you. Don't forget the art contest. I unironically did forget it. Exactly why men don't cry. There's a point, and people will just be creeped out by you. I suppose there are times when men can cry. Like for instance, I don't think it's bad to cry at a funeral. I don't think it's bad to cry if you got fired. I don't think it's cried if you get through a divorce. But there are situations where you can cry. I think you're a piece of shit if you don't cry at Lion King. I think you're a piece of shit if you don't cry at the end of The Walking Dead season 1. Like there are many places you can cry. There are even some hentai games made by Japan that have very emotional stories and you need to cry. But it's more like I believe men don't feel the need to cry. That's the issue, right? So you may witness something that other people are crying and you just don't feel the need. Like that's the thing. I noticed this even in videos, right? It's not about crying, but it's different. Have you guys seen a video where there's like a terrorist attack and everyone is running away? Cause like they have been on Twitter, right? Like you hear gunshots in the background and you see a crowd of people running towards the camera. Now what's interesting is that you will see women screaming, but most men aren't screaming. And it's not that they're not afraid, because obviously they're running away. But they're not screaming because they don't feel the need to. Like literally, you do not feel the need to scream. And it's like, if you get hit, you scream because you cope with the pain. That's fine. If there's people around you and you scream for help, that's fine. But like just screaming for screaming's sake is something that like you don't feel the need to. And a better example is you go to an amusement park. And you have like those roller coaster rides that are really extreme and they go all the way up and then they push people down and, you know, everyone is screaming. Like when I went into those, I also didn't feel the need to scream. Like the women around me were screaming. I just didn't feel the need to. So like one of the reasons men don't scream, it's not like psychological or anything. It's just like you don't feel the need. There's no urge there. Right? So there's that. I don't know why that is, though, because I don't know if it's behavioral, like it's because we were taught, but I don't view that it's harmful or anything. Like if anything, what's harmful is when I'm not allowed to be toxic in a safe environment. Like I'm playing video games, and I want to curse, and I want to scream, and I want to, you know, release all that stress, all that pent-up energy that you get from work and doing daily activities, Like, that would be nice if you can do it. But no, you got the HR lady making the trust and service and forcing you to make a PSN account so that you behave normally. And it's like, okay, so when can I curse? When can I like be a little bit unruly in a safe environment? Because it's a fucking video game. Like, no one is caring. You know, people don't like it, they can mute me. Yeah, I spurg out when I play video games. Don't fucking like it, mute me. But no, apparently, like, that is more harmful to men. Like, taking away that outlet is more harmful to men than saying, oh, well, men don't cry. It's like, bitch, relax. If I want to cry, I'll cry, okay? Like, don't worry about it. If I ever feel the need of crying, I will piss my eyes in front of you. I generally have no shame because I'm a man. Like, I'm a man and I do what I want. I don't care about what you think about me. Fuck off, right? Like, that's fine. But if I chimp out while playing video games, I lose my account. Like, yeah, unironically, cursing helps more than yammering. Like, I even told this to my wife, because, you know, everyone likes to pretend that their relationship is 100% fine and secure and safe and the all peaches and flowers and shit, and no one talks about the bad times in their relationship, because the reality is, everyone argues, right? Like, every single relationship has arguments. Your parents argued, your parents' friends argued, your friends that are married argued, right? But, like, it's a difference between talking about it in public and just keeping it in the family. Now, when I get angry, and I told this to my wife, it's like, I just scream. And the reason I scream is because it helps me vent. It's like, when you know, come home from work, and you have, like, a colleague that said something nasty to you, and you start crying, it's like, it's how you let off steam. Okay? Like, that's fine. When I play video games, and I lose, I start shouting and cursing. I'm not upset at you. You didn't do anything wrong. Right? I'm not a violent person. I never raise a hand or anything. Just don't worry about it. I know it's weird to see a man screaming, but it's how I let up vent. It's how I do. Like it's the equivalent of you crying. Like, it helps me relax. Okay? And after having that talk, we had a very pleasant relationship. Like, after she understood, okay, well, V is having his moment, and she leaves the room. And when I see her crying, it's like, okay, well, my wife is having her moment. Do you want me to hug you? Okay. And that is that, you know? But it's, yeah, I like to yodel. I like to yodel. But it's like, when you're a man, you gotta let off vent. You gotta let off steam. Now, obviously, it's one thing when you do it occasionally. You know, like, every now and then you get angry and you're venting. Like, it's one thing. It would be another thing if you do it daily and constantly. Like, that would be problematic, yes. Because the same with my wife, you know, like, if she cries every now and then, like, if something bad happened at work, or, you know, she got very emotional over something, that's fine, you know, it happens once every now and then. But if she would do it daily and constantly, Jesus, like, that would be very, very difficult to have a normal relationship. Because you don't like to see your wife crying, even if, you know, it's from sources outside of your control. Like, you didn't do anything, you know, she went outside, something happened, and now she's crying, and it's like, oh, fuck, you know. It's not nice to see it. It breaks your heart. So if you were to see it every single day, if you were to see it constantly, well, it would be very difficult to have a healthy relationship like that. V making his wife cry, rubbing it out to bust his succubus for hours. See, my wife doesn't have mental derangement. Like, she understands they're cartoons. And in fact, she actually, on my birthday, gave me money to commission one of those succubi. Like, she sees it as a business. It's like, okay, so you want to make a business, making a video game with those cartoons. She doesn't care. Now, if I was cracking it to actual women, if I was signing up to OnlyFans accounts, or if I was to, you know, like, actually voice chat with women, yeah, she would be pissed. But as long as they're cartoons, she's fine. Don't mutate into a New Yorker and use curses as interpunctuation. I actually used to be like that. I grew up in a family where cursing was not allowed, right? So there is something about educating a child that a lot of Americans disagree with me. And I'm like, well, too many rules will lead to the opposite result that you want. So, like, if you're, like, really strict with, like, okay, don't curse, don't curse, don't curse, the moment the kid gets out of the house, he's going to start cursing constantly. So, especially in that teenager rebellious era, right? Like, he goes out of the house, he's going to start cursing nonstop. And what I noticed is that when you're a teenager, you're cursing, it's edgy, right? Like everyone goes like, "Oh my god, you're so mature now because you're cursing, and only adults curse." But it comes a while when it gets boring, and the people around you actually mature, and they start cursing only when appropriate. And if you keep cursing it, then they're going to look down at you, and they're going to treat you as if you're from the hood or something. Like they will classify you as a low class individual. So it's very important to not punish your kids too much. Sorry, not the word that I'm using is wrong. It's not punish. To instict too many strict rules on your kid, right? Like for instance, if your kid stubs his toe and says, "Ah, motherfucker," it's fine, But if he starts cursing as a punctuation sign, then it's not fine. So you need to strike a balance. Like, basically be reasonable, Like, you shouldn't want your kid to behave in a way that you yourself wouldn't be able to behave. Like, you yourself wouldn't be able to go through life without cursing at least once, So, like, it depends on the context. If he genuinely has a reason to curse, then let him curse. Did she model for one of my succubis? No. She did pick the eye color, though. Higher the pressure when growing up, the bigger the boom later. Yeah. Like for instance, there was this colleague of mine, friend of my cousin, and she was from an incredibly strict family. Like, holy shit, like she wasn't even good looking. Like that didn't work in her favor either, because she was like built incredibly slim, incredibly petite. If she was a cartoon character, you would have people on Twitter go think of the child, even though she was of age. And we're talking about the age of 18, I think, or maybe, was it 16? No, it was 18 because it was university, yeah. So, she basically had this family that said, you're coming home at 9 p.m., you're not using any type of makeup, you're not listening to the devil's music, these are the friends you're allowed to see, these are the friends you're not allowed to see. Like it was like a military boot camp in her house. And yeah, like she wasn't drinking alcohol. Now when we were in her hometown, she would actually follow everything that the parents told her, right? So like I remember we were with the friends at a restaurant, and everyone would order drinks, and she wouldn't because she's not allowed. There were people that smoked, she wouldn't smoke because she's not allowed. She would always say, "Oh, you guys are going to stay here. Well, I need to go back home because it's 9 p.m., right?" So she unironically lived as if she was under a military regiment. Now, when she had to go to the capital city because she got admitted into a prestigious university, I think it took half a year, because now she was outside of the control of her parents. And my fucking god, like she became, I don't even know the word for it. Like it's not necessarily like tramp, but she didn't know how to use makeup properly. Like she was using way too much makeup, and she was looking like a drag queen, pretty much. She was dressed incredibly in poor taste. I can't say like an e-girl, because e-girls actually have taste. Like if you're looking at the ladies of the night from a neighborhood like that, incredibly revealing. The thing is, like when I was talking about how women should dress, because I was talking about it with my wife, like she asked me like, how do you think a woman should dress? And I was like, well, women have like 3 assets that they can show. The back with the shoulders, the cleavage, and the legs. And for a woman to dress appropriately and still provocatively, she would need to not go overboard. Like, you only want to display 1 of the assets or 2 of the assets. Never go all 3, right? So, like, if you have an outfit that highlights the legs, like you're wearing some shorts, right? Then don't highlight the back. Or if you do highlight the back and the legs, don't highlight the chest, right? Because then if you go overboard, Like if you're dressing in a way that's too provocatively, it stops being lewd and it stops being low class, right? And it's like those fashion statements. But yeah, like a street walk. Um, I was looking at this girl, like she would always dress to the point where her cleavage was exposed, her ass was exposed, her legs were exposed, her back was exposed. It's like, okay, so if you're a guy, what is left for the imagination at this point? You know, but my point is that she came from this very restrictive household, and now she was doing all the things that girls were supposed to do when they were younger. Because, like, when you're younger, you know, like, you try on makeup for the first time. You're at school. And you're putting on makeup for the first time in 11th grade or whatever. And it looks like shit. Oh, some people will laugh. The other girls will help you out. But like, you gotta, you know, you slowly ease up into it. Oh, you're drinking alcohol. Well, okay, you're at school, you drank 1 can of beer, and you're drunk, and mom gives you a scolding the other day. So now you know 1 can of beer is too much for you. Just drink half of it. You know, you slowly ease into it. But if you're never allowed to have these experiences, and then you go to university, and you do them all at once, and you do them in excess all at once, you look absolutely ridiculous. Like, you're going to look as a person that is too immature, and the consequences are worse, right? Because if you're in school and you get into trouble, well, your parents are going to give you a scolding, and that's it. You're in university, there's no parents. You get into trouble, you can get mugged at a party, or worse if you're a girl. You can end up missing classes, missing exams, failing the university. Like, you can literally destroy your life. And this can happen if the parents are way too strict. No bikinis, though. Most people I know at 22 were laying down the alcohol. Teenage years are the years when being cringe is expected. Yeah. Like, literally, if you're cringe when you're a teenager, like, most people are going to expect that, and they're going to allow it. But if you're cringe when you're at university, it can ruin your life. You can get banned from the university. You can end up, like the whole purpose of going to a university, believe it or not, is not to study. The whole purpose of going to a university is to network, is to make acquaintances, to know people that will provide job opportunities later on, or help you with those job opportunities. But if you're cringe, you're not going to get that. I agree with V. Strict parents ruin kids. On the other end of the spectrum, I would say, parents that don't have any rules also ruin kids. Like, there are parents that literally are like, oh, well, if the kid wants it, he will have it. And they do absolutely everything possible to please the kid. And in China, they even have a name for it. It's called the Little Emperor Syndrome. So the Little Emperor Syndrome comes from, like, the China one child policy, where for a while it was discouraged for people to have kids. And now that they do, you know, like, there's a lot of families that manage to have, like, one child, especially a daughter or something, which was considered not okay according to their culture. But regardless, they do have, like, one child, and they treat him like the little emperor, because, like, they really wanted to have a kid, and now that they do, they want the kid to have everything. So it creates a type of pathological behavior, because you have a person that was never told no. Like, you have this very narcissistic individual that through the first formative years of their life, they got literally everything they wanted. And they unironically do not understand the concept of rules. They do not understand the concept of boundaries. They do not understand the concept of being told no. So they end up like cheeky little shits. And that can also be very damaging to a person's reputation, to how a person interacts with others. And yeah, like both types of parenting can be wrong. Like a parent that's way too permissive and allows everything is bad, and a parent that is way too strict and acts like a military drill instructor is way too bad. So you got to balance it out. Yeah, it's literally middle ground between spoiling and tyrannying your kid, yeah. You're mistaken, V. They're only allowed one kid so that one kid gets the attention of both parents and four grandparents. Okay. Well, still, it doesn't change the fact that the little emperor syndrome is a thing. You can look it on Google. It's actually funny. Um His parents told him not to self-immolate and he did it anyway. Many such cases. I actually know the case of my neighbor. Like, he actually told us that when he was young, um, there was this teacher he hated, which had a lot of rules. And one of the things that the teacher said was not to put your hands inside the television because if you get electrocuted, like, you can't take your hands away. Like, if you know, like, if you touch an electric fence, your muscles contract and you literally can't let go. And he didn't believe that. He was like, no, that's full of shit. You know, like So he tried it with his TV at home. And apparently the way he described is that he was feeling as if he is pulled into the television. But luckily he stood on a stool. So like the shakes, like the whole shaking thing made him fall off. And that's how he actually managed to get himself away. But like, yeah, no, like there are individuals who do actually do the opposite. Like, you tell them something that's common sense, and because they don't believe you, they don't trust you, they will actually try. Yeah, no, like it does happen. You say it ironically, but no. Yeah, like I was even told that if you ever want to test an electric fence to see if it's on or not, you should always test with the back of your palm, because if your muscles contract, then you won't be able to let go. So I mean, not to mention, when you're a kid, you don't really understand how biology works, and it's like, what do you mean, like, muscles contract? Like, that's ridiculous. Doesn't sound right. Um. Anyway, right. I'll end it here. I don't know if I'll be able to make This Weekend Stupid tomorrow, but I'll try. Because my cousin is coming over. If I can't, maybe I'll try to reschedule, and we'll see. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I'll